Dear friends of the Tom Photo channel, when I review lenses, the lenses are mostly modern, lenses that interact with the camera and can do automatic focusing. But what if you want to attach something entirely different and also very old to your camera, a lens that is truly foreign to your system? Today I'm reviewing the Helios 44-2 for you. I'm curious to see if this retro 58mm lens turns out to be fun in front of my Fuji cameras. The old Helios 44-2 is just about the most mass-produced lens ever. It's a Soviet-made and slightly updated replica of the Carl Zeiss Biotar lens from the late 1930s. There are many versions of the 44. There's the original 44, the 44-2, 44-3, all the way to 44-7, and 44M series such as 44M4 and 44M6 for example. The 44-2 has no multi-coated glass unlike the 44-3, and some say it offers less contrast and sharpness. Some others say that the 44-2 outputs more interesting and therefore better photos. Too bad I sold my Helios 44-3 several years ago before even using it very much. The Helios 44-2 lens has arguably been used in one of the latest Batman movies in Hollywood, and probably in some others. If Hollywood considers this lens valuable, it should work for me as well. They started producing this 58mm f2.0 lens in 1958 and did so well into the 90s. My version is from 1983. The paint is still nice and the focusing ring feels like it has hydraulic resistance. The focusing can be very accurate because the ring turns a lot to give you small changes in focus. The lens feels high quality to me. Partly probably because it's so heavy, all metal. A good lens should be heavy. My copy of this small lens weighs 222 grams without any extras. It is 4.5 centimeters long when collapsed and 6 centimeters wide. The minimum focusing distance is about 45 centimeters, and the lens extends from 4.5 centimeters to 5.5 centimeters when focusing to the two extremes. It has two aperture rings. The first, that's quite difficult to even discover, sets the upper f-stop limit and it clicks. The second one opens and closes the aperture blades continuously between the set limit and the maximal aperture. So for me, the second continuous ring is the real aperture ring that I turn to adjust the aperture. Its continuous motion is quite cool. You could use an f-stop of 3.18 for example. I usually keep the first aperture ring at the max f-stop value, so that the second one could use the entire f-stop range available. What makes it really crazy is that the f-stops for the second aperture ring are written in the wrong order. When you turn it to 2, you get the smallest aperture. 16 gives you the largest. If you want to know what your f-stop is, you need to count the mark increments from the right and then look at the mark that's the same number of increments from the left. It'll be good for my brain. These old lenses can be very beat up. Mine has nice, smooth glass, no dust or fungus. I'm happy with how it looks. I paid €40 for it in case you're wondering. It came without the lens caps, so I had to invest a bit more. As is typical of these lenses, they use the M42 mount, which is basically just a screw mount. This means I need an adapter to attach it. I talk about my adapter in a special adapter video, the link is below. Here's the lens attached to my Fuji X-T30. Make sure you have enabled the photography without lens in the menu, switch to manual focusing, optionally selected focus peaking, and let the camera know what the focal length of the lens is. I talk about this in my special lens mount adapter video I just mentioned. I must say that using this lens has made me smile and has made me want to take a lot of photos. I don't remember having more fun with any of my modern lenses. It's just pure photography joy. I walk around the yard looking for things to photograph. The results are so different from all other lenses. No wonder it's called a bokeh monster. The lens features 8 aperture blades, which is really good for bokeh. The image quality differences compared to the modern lenses are obvious. The lens is very soft in the corners, especially at f2, and quite nice in the center. You need to put your main subject in the center, forget about the 1/3 rule or the 2/5 rule, but it works so well for this lens. The photos have a strong 3D feel to them. Retro is written all over it, and it's just nice. It's not a preferable portrait lens because autofocus is not an option, and if you don't get the eyes sharp, a portrait is no good. But for a list of other crazy reasons, this lens is perfetto, as they say in Italy. Users praise the very unique bokeh of this lens. In certain situations, you'll get a swirly bokeh. This is like a ghost that appears in the photograph that everyone will want to see and tell their friends about. I think I've seen it too. Let me know if this counts. Yes, the lens is soft and a bit low contrast. The more wide open it is, the less contrast and sharpness you get. The extent of it is obvious here. Just look at the contrast differences taken at these different f-stops. Your post-processing will be a remedy for this lack of contrast. However, you can do other things too. I find that with my Fujis, when I use a higher contrast, more punchy film simulation such as Velvia or ProNeg High, these so-called problems will be much reduced. For me, this is a Velvia lens. I'm so happy to see it do wonders in combination with Velvia. I should say that in most photos, I didn't just use Velvia, but also shifted the white balance to get more impact. I also much like the classic chrome film simulation with this lens. If the retro feel is not enough for you, switch to classic chrome and just see what retro squared looks like. The low contrast is what is often desired in the films, so the 44-2 will be an amazing film lens. The sense of mystery you get with this lens is deep. What's a better way to film a paranormal activity in dense fog, for example? All of a sudden, my other lenses seem so boring, mainstream, faceless. All we ever talk about is lens sharpness and lack of aberrations and color rendering accuracy. With this lens, you start to appreciate everything else there is in photography beyond the image sharpness. You see, with this lens, the sharpness really is beyond the point. And what aberrations? Just give me more of those aberrations. You really just don't care. It's a different experience. Going directly against my own words, I'm now proposing that I measure the image sharpness and sweet spot of this lens. I don't really care at all, and I don't want to do it, but I've done it in my other videos where I talk about lenses, and I don't want to let you down. You'll find the links in the text box on how I do it. I photographed a painting as usually, and here are the results. I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. Never before have I created a lens sharpness graph like this. It just shoots into the sky. Mostly because everything is really off for the lens at f2, and then as you stop it down, it gradually becomes more like a modern lens until diffraction kicks in. Looks like f11 is your best way to get maximally sharp image, but I hesitate to call it the sweet spot. But once again, believe me, with this lens, you can take a rest from worrying about image sharpness. This lens is not about sharpness. The quality and collector's value of these lenses depend on when and where they were produced during the production span from 1958 into the early 1990s. Generally, the older ones have higher quality and cost more. The newer ones can be wobbly and don't feel as compact. Of the three factories where they were made, the MMZ is the most desired and the Jupiter Optics at Valdai is the least desired. Valdai was the major production site. You know, the factory based on the icon on the lens as shown here. My lens was made at the MMZ factory. The first two numbers of the serial number show the production year. I'm now going to grab my Helios 44-2 and one of my Fuji cameras, and off to the woods I am. No time to waste when fall colors have turned and you own a Helios 44-2. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a thumbs up or maybe even subscribing to my channel. Enjoy your photography and see you soon. Bye.